FC24 sees an array of changes when it comes to controller settings, meaning picking the right ones can be very difficult to choose. And getting one of these settings right will make the game feel much more fluid and not feel like you're stuck in the mud. I do want to say a massive thank you to EA, who have given me the game early, which is presented to you by the Creator Network. Thank you so much to them. It does mean that I'm allowed to give my honest opinion on the game so far, what I am thinking of it. When I first loaded FC24 up and headed into the controller settings, you'll notice it is no longer there. It is now in game settings. You are greeted by the preset of competitive or custom. For anyone that plays online in Ultimate Team, this setting is on competitive by default, so just leave it on that. What the competitive setting actually does is it changes a couple things to make the game a little bit more difficult. For example, having headers on manual or jockeying on manual. Shot assistance is where you can look to express yourself as a player on FC24 with some changes. Most players will run assisted, and that's probably what I would recommend. However, if you wish to be a little bit more expressive and want to get a little bit more out of your game, take a look at precision. Precision can be so much more rewarding. What it actually means is wherever you aim your left analog stick is where the ball is going to go. If you master it, it means you can put the ball right in the corners time and time again. It does take a while to get used to though, so don't be afraid if you see your shots going wide over and over. Get some practice games in. EA did also actually buff precision shooting, because one of the complaints from pro players is that running it in the previous iterations is that when you get those quick cutbacks inside the 6-yard box, you end up missing the goal completely because it's so difficult to move your left analog stick and aim directly on goal. So any cutback scenarios where your shots are now inside the 6-yard box will be assisted. I don't know how much of a difference that will make, but I suppose it's a bit of a benefit. Next up, you see time finishing, and this can be what separates good and bad players in FC24. This is simply where when you press shoot, you have a timing window to get that time finish. You have to press the shoot button again to get that green time finish, and that will result in more accuracy and more power on your shot. Do note though that when you time this wrong and you get a red or a yellow timed finish, this means that the shot is terrible and it is going to be much worse than just a normal shot. If you get a white timing window, this has no impact on the shot, so it's absolutely not a problem. For more experienced players, definitely have this on, even if it's something that you don't know how to do just yet, because you obviously can learn it later down the line. But for brand new players, if you've never picked up kind of any iteration of EA's games, then I'd probably recommend having this one off. Also, very soon we will have a timed finishing video here on the channel, so if you don't know how to do it, you can look out for that. Passing on FC24 has changed massively, with a wide range of different types of passes that have been removed altogether. One of the things that you'll notice, which is probably what I spent the first few days getting frustrated with, the over-the-top driven through ball is no longer in the game. It simply doesn't exist. And certain types of passes will give you an indicator when you're looking, say, for a threaded through ball, or if you do an L1 square, you'll get a circle underneath to show you where that ball is going to go. These passes are a lot more manual. They're a lot more rewarding when you do get them right. However, back to the controller settings, and running through pass and lob through pass, both on semi, is my preference. You can't have them on assisted, and manual, a little bit more difficult. Do note though that you do need to aim correctly and get the right sort of power on these through balls, because the assistance is very minimal when it comes to looking for them. Ground pass, cross and lob pass I all run on assisted for now, and pass receiver lock is a setting which I think actually confuses a lot of people, so let me explain that in a little bit of further detail for you. Once you power up a pass, there are a few different timing windows where your aim will kind of determine where that ball is going to go. If you have this setting on late, this means you could quickly change to a different sort of pass with that left analog stick up until that ball is kicked, which basically gives you a quick bailout, I would say, so you can change kind of where you want to actually pass that ball. If you have it on animation start, as soon as your player starts the kicking animation, you're locked into where that pass was going to go. So if you're aiming to pass to your right back, as soon as you kind of start that kicking animation, bang, the ball is going to go there. You can't change it regardless of what you do with the left stick. However, if you go for the power up setting, this is the earliest setting you can have. Basically, wherever you are aiming the left stick at the time of you clicking pass, that is where that ball will go, which is a little bit scary. For me, late is best for you to go here because it just gives you the ability to kind of bail out and change your mind on a pass should you wish to. Precision pass sensitivity is something for everyone to kind of play around on because obviously it is new. Right now, I'm just going to keep mine on normal. Clearance assistance is where you simply just want to yeet the ball away. You want to get it gone. You don't want it anywhere near your 18-yard box, where you press circle or B to clear. You have the choice of classic or directional. I run mine on classic, and you might be wondering, well, why do you do that? I just want to get the ball gone, right? I don't care where it goes. If I'm pressing circle or B, it means just get it gone. I want the game to pick the quickest animation to get it either out for a throw-in, for a corner, into row Z. It really doesn't matter. If you have it on directional, this means wherever you're aiming your left stick is where that ball is going to try and go, which in those moments where you're defending, you might not actually be like aiming properly. You might just kind of be pushing the left stick anywhere. So for me, classic is the option, but you have a little bit of play around to see what you prefer. Introduced this year is the advanced defending. This is where you can shoulder barge a player by using the X or the A button. I'm going to start with this setting on because I feel like it might be useful, but I'll see how it goes. Pass block assistance is definitely on. You want all of your players trying to intercept the ball. Yes, at times you will get some weird animations where your player will lunge and you know, kind of take themselves out of the game, but you have to have this on because if not, you won't intercept anything. Now, time for some settings that can actually make this game feel and run so much cleaner. Auto switching is going to give you a few options. If you're brand new to the game, you've literally never played a football game before, then I'd pick automatic. This means the game will automatically switch for you in every single scenario. However, for most of the people here that are probably watching this, you've got a couple of options to pick from. You can either go with air balls and loose balls. This will mean that the game will auto switch for you in those scenarios when a cross comes in or when there's a 50-50 kind of loose ball in the middle of the park. Myself, I go with air balls. I want to be able to switch to the loose balls myself to kind of put a player, so I don't always want to be committed to go to the ball. But crosses, I've tried running manual to switch to them manually all the time, and it's not always great for me. I'm a little bit slow with it. So air balls is the one that works best for me. Now, this is probably the setting that I think can make the biggest difference to gameplay, and that's auto switching of move assistance. If you have this setting on high, defending will basically feel like you're constantly fighting your controller, and that's not good. What it actually does is when you switch to a player, that player will already kind of be on a predetermined path. For example, running back towards their goal, you know, running back towards the 18-yard box for a through ball or something. When you have it on high, regardless of where you're aiming your left stick, so say if you're running back towards goal and you aim it to go downwards towards the player, it will take half a second or so for that defender to stop making that run, to then readjust and start reacting to your left stick input, which makes the game feel heavy. When you have it on low or manual, this means as soon as you switch to that player, you have instant control of that defender, and it's instant. You're kind of there to do where you want. For myself, I went on low because I don't want to have that instant reaction. As soon as I switch to them, bang, I'm on them. I like to have them for about, 250 milliseconds essentially, where they will run on their own path, and then it kind of takes over to me. Right stick switching should be on classic, and then you have a choice of a ball relative or player relative. Player relative has been what has been the default on previous versions, and it's what most people are used to. It's what I run and always have ran. What it actually means is whoever you are controlling is the center of your right analog stick. Okay, so if you wanted to switch with the right stick, whoever you are controlling is the center of the right stick. You push that right stick in the direction of where you want to go, and then it means you get your right stick switch nice and accurate. And a lot of people get a bit confused with that, to make sure you kind of rewatch that should you need to. Ball relative though means that the ball is the center of your right analog stick, and that one for me is a little bit weird. It's not what I like, but you have a play around, see which one you prefer. As long as you understand how they both operate, you'll find one which you like. Sensitivity, again, is something new that EA have put in, so it's going to require us to do a little bit of testing. I'll run 4 as the default. And then your next player switching comes with a few new options. This is where you tap L1, LB to switch to the player that is closest to the ball. We now have the option of classic, goal side, and closest to the ball. I'm going to start with goal side because although classic kind of says it has a various options, the way it felt in previous years is that when you tap L1, it changes you to the player that is closest and goal side to the ball. So that's the one which I'm going to go with to start off with. Player lock should definitely be on. For more advanced players, this is something that you will need to learn throughout the course of the year. It's super, super effective and it's so good. We'll have a video on how to do that again very soon. But in short, it's where you press both analog sticks in. You can then change to a player that's off the ball to change that AI movement to be manual, and it's really, really strong. Icon switching, no, just turn that off. Don't have that on. Orbit dribbling is a new feature where you can alter your player's position over the ball without actually touching this. I'm going to have this on to start off with to see how useful it's going to be, but definitely have it on. Save assistance on semi, and then time for analog sprint. We want this off. The idea here is that if we press sprint, we want to get to full speed as quickly as possible at maximum speed, not trying to kind of feather it where we have like 50% sprint at different levels. Trigger and user vibration is off. Also, something that isn't mentioned here is the new controlled sprint where you can hold R1, RB to basically be in between sprinting and jogging. It's super, super strong and super effective. So make sure you have a little play around with that and use that. For my camera settings to start off on the game, I will be going with co-op 1510. This is the more zoomed out one. For anyone that doesn't like kind of the zoomed out look that you can have, I'd recommend Tele Broadcast 17.3. That's the other one that I run. There's so many new things to learn on FC24 and so much content to watch and enjoy. Click this video here to catch up with one of our latest ones.